Today we're talking about navigation and airspace classes without hesitation, repetition, or deviation starting now. Navigation in aviation is all about organizing the airspace in a way that ensures the safe and efficient movement of aircraft around the world. Airspace refers to the section of air over a specific land or water area, and each country has control over the airspace above its territory and a portion of the ocean extending about 12 nautical miles from its coastlines. Countries use this airspace to regulate how aircraft operate, making sure flights are managed efficiently and safely. In international waters, oceanic airspace is managed by specific countries based on global agreements, ensuring seamless air navigation across borders. To make this all work smoothly, the world's airspace is divided into large geographical areas called Flight Information Regions or FIRs. FIRs help organize air navigation by breaking up the globe into smaller, manageable chunks typically based on national borders. Some large countries have multiple FIRs while smaller countries might only have one. When these regions cross international boundaries, countries come to agreements on how to manage the air traffic in that area. For instance, one country's Area Control Center or ACC will handle air traffic within its assigned FIR. The airspace is further classified as controlled or uncontrolled depending on how much ATC oversight is involved. Controlled airspace is a defined area where ATC provides monitoring and management. This airspace is typically found around high traffic areas like major airports or military zones. When flying in controlled airspace, pilots need to get clearance from ATC before entering, ensuring that aircraft don't come close to each other. In this airspace, you'll find a mix of both VFR and IFR flights depending on the specific classification of that airspace. Uncontrolled airspace, on the other hand, is where flights are not under the direct supervision of ATC. Pilots do not require clearance to enter, but ATC might still provide support through radio communication if requested and if they're able to. In uncontrolled airspace, pilots are primarily responsible for maintaining a safe distance from other aircraft and the terrain, operating mainly under VFR conditions. When we talk about VFR and IFR, we're referring to two sets of rules that govern how flights are conducted. VFR or visual flight rules is used when weather conditions are clear enough for pilots to see other aircraft and obstacles like mountains or clouds. Pilots rely on their own eyes to navigate and avoid collisions. However, there are minimum weather conditions known as visual meteorological conditions or VMC that must be met for VFR to be allowed. This means pilots need to have good visibility and enough distance from clouds to ensure they can safely navigate through the airspace. IFR or instrument flight rules comes into play when weather conditions are not good enough for visual navigation. In these situations, pilots rely on their cockpit instruments to navigate rather than their sight. Instrument meteorological conditions or IMC such as fog or heavy clouds require IFR, and ATC takes a larger role in guiding aircraft to maintain safe separation. Most commercial flights operate under IFR to ensure consistent safety even if the weather is clear. To help manage all this traffic, airspace is further divided into classes from A to G, each with its own set of rules. Class A is the most strictly controlled airspace where only IFR flights are allowed and ATC is responsible for separating all aircraft. Class A airspace goes from 18,000 feet above mean sea level or MSL to 60,000 feet. Class B allows both IFR and VFR flights, but all aircraft are provided ATC services and separated from each other. Generally, it goes from the surface to 10,000 feet above mean sea level. Class C permits both IFR and VFR flights. ATC separates IFR aircraft from both other IFR and VFR flights, but VFR flights only receive traffic information rather than separation services from other VFR flights. Generally, Class C goes from the surface to 4,000 feet above airport elevation measured in mean sea level. Class D is similar to Class C, but VFR flights only get traffic information without separation from IFR flights. Class D airspace goes from the surface to 2,500 feet above airport elevation, again measured in MSL. Class C allows both IFR and VFR operations, but while ATC controls IFR flights, VFR aircraft are not subject to ATC oversight unless requested. Generally, any airspace between 1,500 feet to 14,500 feet above mean sea level is classified as Class E in the US, but exceptions do apply. Class F is less common but offers an advisory service for IFR flights and basic flight information for all aircraft. Class G, on the other hand, is entirely uncontrolled airspace where ATC services are not provided unless requested, leaving pilots responsible for their own navigation and separation. In conclusion, the purpose of this classification system is to create a safe environment for different types of aviation activities. Think of it as layers of protection that ensure high-speed commercial jets, skydiving operations, rocket launches, and student pilot training can all coexist safely in the sky. The different classes create boundaries that help prevent conflicting operations from interfering with each other, ultimately making the system both safer and more efficient for everyone involved. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more aviation content.